Now I would like to introduce Bonnie Piekarski. She is the Executive Director of the Milagros Project.
Can you hear me? Yes. Thank you. Give it up for these young people really quick. Thank you. So as Julia said, I am the Executive Director of the Milagros Project, a mutual aid organization in the city of Woonsocket. Before I even start this, because Harrison did touch on the needing more counselors and social workers, the Woonsocket High School has 1,700 students with 2 social workers. They have the same amount of SROs as well. Good afternoon. I am so honored to be here alongside these young people. I am here to speak for a young person who is no longer here today. On December 4th, 2019, one of my students, Naija Williams-Thomas, was sitting in her car with friends when her life was taken senselessly by gun violence in the city of Woonsocket. The story around her death is well told, often to deaf ears. In fact, the silence has become so deafening anytime a child is killed by gun violence. Deaf to when a young person grabs hold of one of these weapons and goes to a school or a supermarket to open fire for known or unknown reasons. Leaving family members having to identify loved ones by shoes and clothing because of the damage done. Mass shootings happen and conservatives always scream, "What about Chicago?" Yes, what about Chicago, where firearms are so readily available, shipped in by sellers, knowing the harm it does to Black, brown, and poor communities? Leaving families burying their children, their mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, and grandparents. When does it end? How much more stories of sadness and harm does this country need to see? This country loves tragedy. When Naija was killed, the news was all over the Boys and Girls Club where I used to work with her. They wanted to know all the details about her death, but not how she lived. A life so senselessly removed from the Woonsocket community that we have never healed. We are still hurting. Our leaders in Woonsocket continue deaf to our words, deaf to our loss, and deaf to our sadness. Right now, conservatives in this country are more outraged by their party's white supremacy on trial from January 6th than they are the lives taken in cars, streets, schools, supermarkets, and churches. What does that say about us when guns were more regulated than the quote-unquote Wild West than they are now? We are not evolving. We are regressing. I am here today for Naija, a beautiful 17-year-old who was sitting in her car with her friends when she lost her life when someone decided to open fire. I will also add that a 14-year-old was the intended target that day. I am here for the parents of Ilvade who recognized their children by their sneakers because there was nothing left to identify them by. We are done marching and we are done yelling. We are going to be showing up to where you are and we are going to be demanding change. Thank you.
Let's please give it up one more time for Naija.